Well, hello YouTube. My name's Samax. Many of you know me through Aaron's channel. I hope it's not some sign of things to come, but it's raining on the server as I begin to record my very first video. So, if any of you have checked out the download that Aaron offers in his video and will be included in mine, then you might be kind of familiar with what we're looking at here. This is a standard old everyday Steve's Cart tree farm. It's on the back of my base. We can put some jetpack on and then fly down here and check it out. It's a standard Steve's Cart build, oak trees, standard cargo manager. I use I use an additional track to control when it's turned on and off, and it pipes into the base through an ender chest. I think that there are about 1 million tutorials on these things already, so if somebody wants some more details on it, I can certainly give it, but for now I will leave it at that. Let's fly back over to the regular base, or to the base as a whole. I may stop out here and show you what this looks like from the outside. When I initially started looking for a base, I wasn't... God dang, I'm terrible at flying today. I wasn't really sure what I wanted. I went hunting around. I always like mountains. And I happened to see that little cove right there, and when I went in it, I knew instantly that this is where I was going to end up staying. I think that this is these things already, so it's no longer really active. I mean, I used link books to get in here. At some point we'll discuss this, but I'm still developing it. If any of you read the Reddit, then you'll know that there's a bunch of different links about miscroft portals that can be switched using a computer screen, a touch screen, and that's what I'm working on here, but it's not complete. This is it's kind of a defunct IC2 room. It holds the big lava tank in the middle of it, and I believe that there are a total of 96 geothermal engines throughout. But for the most part, I've started evacuating this in favor of AE. All in all, I like the way I designed these engines. I like the way they look. You know, it's 8 engines surrounded by, and within MFE in the middle. The 8 engines easily keep up with anything that the MFE is going to put out. It's all fed through the lava from the nether, and it's kind of a design I fell into a couple of maps ago, and I continue to use it as Aaron and I continue to think about what our next map will be and when we'll be making those changes. It kind of calls into question whether or not I'll do this kind of design again. It's getting kind of stale, so I think I'd like to avoid it. Here is a regular old rotary macerator, an extractor, and another rotary macerator, some furnaces or some induction furnaces that I've been cooking bricks in, and another compressor. On this wall over here is a chemical reactor. I can't remember exactly why I built this thing. There was something that I needed at some time, and I specifically grabbed this, and I think I've used it just that one time. Here is my recycler. It's fed through AE. The quarry typically feeds it plenty of cobblestone. This goes into an ender chest, which stores scrap boxes, and that feeds the matter fab. Here's another one of the AE an AE panel. Around this corner is this is the first place that I really started working. This is the MJ room, as I would kind of call it. It's had a couple of iterations, but the current iteration is the big glass ceiling, which I kind of like. In the middle of this floor is a water tank fed by, I think it's 4 of the zirconium water blocks. All in all, when everything's working, there's a total of, what is it, 10, 20, 30, 35, and I think there's another 12 engines back in there that we'll look at in a minute. So basically these work out like this. There's I am running dual quarries right now in the quarry age. These 10 engines feed essentially feed one of the quarries. These 10 engines feed a second quarry, and these 5 engines are all responsible for biofuel production. These 10 over here feeds a couple of machines that are up here. There used to be more, but I hardly do anything with them anymore, so they may get taken out at some point. I know that Aaron, actually, most of the gate setup is something that Aaron uses. It's something that I learned from Aaron. I use 2 redstone cells instead of his 1. This one is fed directly by the engines. It's kind of the control cell, and it feeds out a signal when it's empty. So this one is a buffer for this one here. This one sends out a signal when it's full at the bottom. So you see that it's off. This one's on, because until both of these fill up, those 10 engines will run consistently. What essentially that means is, well, this tesseract that's sitting on top is an energy tesseract to the quarry. What that essentially means, this whole setup means that those 10 engines will run non-stop while the quarry is running. Likewise, these 10 engines back here are set up exactly the same way, with a tesseract on this end that does, I mean, everything is literally identical between these two. The setups are identical. So those 20 engines will run non-stop. Man, will run non-stop while the quarry is running. I may need to take off these boots of the Traveler because they are making everything move really quickly, and I don't know that I want to. We'll try that for another minute or two. Let's see, up above that you can see that there's a biofuel storage tank. We'll go check that out in a second. If you walk back behind here, there is, this is where the assembly table is. It's got 15 lasers fed by 12 engines, combustion engines down here, all of it biofuel. I think all of my MJ production outside of AE is by biofuel. AE is all steam, and we'll look at that at some point. Maybe in this episode, maybe not. I'm going to have to check and see how long we are after I get through talking about some of this. And then there's some additional spots to restore, or to charge some redstone cells, or energy cells, so that if I need to move somewhere real quick, then that'll do it. This gate setup is almost identical. Actually, it is identical to everything else that we've seen. Oh, see? Look at that. Aaron is cheating. Man, I'm guessing that has a lot to do with... I did this earlier because I didn't have an iridium alloy or an iridium plate. I cheated one in so I could set up the patterns for AE and ended up throwing it around, or throwing it away, but we'll let him know that we saw it at least. And all of YouTube saw that. I thought he was recording, so I didn't tell him that I was going to record, so he may not have done that if I was... He may not have done that if I would have let him know ahead of time that we could do it. You can hear above my head is a blaze farm. I think that Aaron went into it in one of his videos. We both have individual blaze farms to help feed the steam, feed the boilers. And when you're in this part of the base, you can hear it, and sometimes you can hear just kind of the burning on its own. On this side is a water tank that used to feed these down here, and now it's not. It's fed by that tank in the middle. These are just some spare engines, kind of or spare machines. These are kind of the things that were set the first time that I used it, or the first time I set up. And then this is my biofuel setup, and man, there we go. So I had an error in something a little while ago. We're actually going to look at my setup. I know that Aaron just the other day used or made gates to do his, and I did mine slightly different. And so, oh man, I just broke my tank accidentally, but we'll clean it up. Alright, so the way I did my tank, or the way I did my setup is this. There's a liquid detector here. It feeds this wireless redstone, and if we go around and look at the back of this tank, there's another liquid detector that feeds a second redstone, or a second wireless transmitter. Let's go fix this tank, and then we can go down. Put the tank back together. Man, that is such a great feature that you can just throw that thing back together and be done with it. So when you go into this room, you'll see on this wall, these are the receivers for those two transmitters. The 12 is the one that is on the back of the tank. The 13 is the one that's on the top of the tank, I think. And then we can look at, I'll use Control T to break this program, and then we'll just edit startup. And it's really simple. It's just a simple print message here, and then while true, so it runs non-stop. And it says that if the tank on the bottom is not on, then we print that the engines are running, and set the redstone output on bottom to true. Otherwise, if the input on the top is true, then we print that we're going to turn them off, and we set the output off. Then it's an end of a loop, a sleep for 5 seconds, and then another end. When I was originally thinking about this, I was going to use latches and gates just like Aaron had used, and I sat down and I worked out the truth table to figure out what it was, and it looked like it was going to be so much more complicated than what it was, and it's really simple. So we'll get those running again. But what I thought was going to be is it was just going to be this incredibly difficult set of, logic, and getting it on and off at the right time was just going to be a pain. But, I mean, it turned out to be really, really simple. This redstone signal runs underneath here, turns on these 5 engines, and they will run until that until that tank up there gets full. Let me look real quick at how long we've been going. Perhaps really needs to give us a timer on here to give me an idea of how long we've been recording. Unfortunately, it does not. I think that I probably will call it here. I'm actually looking forward to getting some feedback on this, what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, where things can be improved. But I think that I'll try to put out another video in the next couple of days talking about AXCO, which is what I've called this factory floor here, and some of the automation that we've gone through, and where I feel like I'm going to be heading. Just today I got the implosion compressor running and a couple of other things, and so we can go through those setups, and we can talk about, I can tell you where I feel like we need to go next and what I might want to do next. So I think I'll cut it off here. I really hope that y'all enjoyed it, and please, please, please give me feedback about what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong, what you want to see more of, and that's about it. Y'all have a good night. Talk to you later.